tell you otherwise if you need to use the restroom after, because it's going to be lunch, okay? So no one's allowed to use the restroom or get up. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Okay? So we have a lot to offer today. Um, so, Mr. Fortunato.
All right, thank you, Councilor Sagin. All right, good morning, everybody. All right. Before we begin, I just wanted to maybe throw a question out there, maybe get a poll of everyone. Does anyone know anything about the Attorney General's office?
It's in ITC.
ITC, okay, that's a very good one. We have
Good
an
start.
office at ITC, that's our headquarters. Anyone else? Anyone know anything about what do we do? Does anyone know what the Attorney General does? Well, it's looking like we're going to be learning a lot about our office today, and we're very glad to bring this opportunity to you guys. We've been at the other high schools, and this is our first time here at JP Torres. My name is Austin, and I'm a paralegal here with the admin division. Before we begin, let's do a little icebreaker. Could I have everyone raise their left hand up high? I see people raising. Oh, their left hand. It's my right. That's why I'm confused. All right, everyone's raising their left hand. Now raise your right hand with your left hand up. All right, now go ahead and give yourself a round of applause for being here today, waking up, going to school, right? Very important. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you, please welcome the Attorney General of Guam, Douglas Moylan, to give his welcoming remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Hafa day, everybody. First of all, my name's Doug Moylan. As Austin mentioned, I was elected by you guys. Calculate, right?
So you look different in person?
Thank you, or maybe not. Thank you for that. But okay, guys. First, I want to congratulate you. You're not the normal high school below 18 students that we're used to. So we're going to be speaking to you at a higher level because we understand that you're adults already. You know, that's the way our system works. You're all adults. What we're going to be talking about today are hard-hitting things that is going to be practical for you guys in order to succeed. Each one of you is here in those seats because you want to succeed. That's why you guys are getting that all-important high school degree, and hopefully you guys are going to be going off to GCC or UOG. You know, GCC you guys know is a trade, you know, fixing stuff, and then UOG takes a little bit more time of your time to graduate with a university degree, but both are successful types of degrees, but the first step is you got to get your high school diplomas. And quite frankly, when they talk about being a lawyer, first step, get your high school degree, then you look at your college degree, then you go off to 3 years of law school and take the bar exam and become an attorney. So all of you guys can do it, and sometimes the more scrappy people are the ones that are the better lawyers if you guys take that path, let alone doctors, because you guys know how hard it is to work, right? You're at that level that you know, you would think that you would hope to graduate at 18, but you're not giving up. And I can tell you right now, in the AG's office, that's what makes our office different, and that's what made my 32 years of being an attorney different, is I never gave up. I'm not the smartest guy. This is my classmate in Father Duenas High School. We graduated in '84. He kicked everybody's asses. He was the valedictorian. He was so far ahead of us that we were just looking at one another to try to beat them on the grades.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is life, okay? We're talking about, what is it, 40th anniversary? What was our?
40th.
Yeah, this is our 40th anniversary year. So I was looking at a bunch of old guys, and we're all kind of looking at each other and what's happened to you in the last 40 years, right? So you guys are eventually going to be there. You are going to be, is it all you graduating together? Is it class of, or you get different levels for graduation for your high schools? Yeah, it's the same thing that everybody else goes through. With that degree, that is your key to success. Education is the key to success. Education is going to be what Ray and I are going to talk about. That's the key in order to succeed, and that's the key to stay away from some of this hard-hitting stuff that we're going to be talking about.
Right.
We're going to have a question and answer session after. Because you guys are over 18, ask any question that you want. There's no filters in this setting, okay?
All right.
So let's start.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's give General Moylan a round of applause. All right, so we will go ahead and kick it off with our first presentation from Attorney Ray Logan to talk about child support. All right, let's give it up for Mr. Attorney Ray Logan.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Raymond E. Logan. I'm the Deputy Attorney General for the Child Support Enforcement Division, Office of the Attorney General. and I'm here to talk about child support. We did have another presentation that I was told to go to, but because the children were under the age of 18, they cut me, and I couldn't talk about child support. But because all of you guys are 18 years old or older, no issues or everything can be asked about child support. So what is child support? I'm not sure if any of you have kids or are in the child support system, but whenever any couple has children, a child or children, they both have a legal obligation to support their children, morally, especially financially. They must provide the basics, the food, clothing, shelter, all the basic necessities of life. Those two individuals are obligated to provide to those children. Many times, as you guys may be aware, couples don't always stay together. They break up, they get divorced, they can't live in the same household, they just can't even be together. Most of the time, one parent leaves the household and the other parent takes care of the kids. Majority of times, the woman takes the kid, the husband moves out. This is a sole custody situation. The husband usually just gets visits with the kids on weekends. Other times, parents are able to work together. They can figure out something, some agreement between themselves, and they share custody. One person has the child 1 week, the next week the child goes to the other parent. That's called a shared custody situation. Whenever it's a sole custody situation, the one who has custody of the children is called the custodial parent. The one who doesn't have custody of the children is called the non-custodial parent. They don't have custody. Also called absent parent. Either way, whether it's sole custody or shared custody, both parents are obligated to support their children. And the main question is, how do you think you can support your children? It's through money. It comes down to money. Whenever parties separate, the other party who has the kids needs to provide for that child. Food, clothing, shelter. Sometimes parents think they can provide diapers 1 week or wipes the next week and milk the next week. It doesn't work that way. If they want credit for that, they have to go to the court, ask a judge to say, I want credit. Courts usually don't allow that. They say it has to be in the form of money. What you did was you just gave the child gifts, and that's what our statute says. Hopefully, the idea is for both parents to work together. They must provide for their children. They make some arrangements, so they stay out of the court system. That's not always the case. One party usually either can't provide because they're not working, or they don't want to provide, which is a lot of times, in the cases that I'm involved with, they don't want to support their children. And so whenever that happens, the child support office comes in. The mother comes in, applies for services, and we file a complaint, serve that person, and bring them to court. And we make sure that person is providing for that child. The next question is, how do you calculate child support? Guam uses a shared custody model, or shared income custody model. We look at the income of both parents. If both parents are earning minimum wage, $9.25 an hour, $9.25 an hour, more likely than not, the child support guidelines will say they each owe 50% for the child support. At $9.25, with no other expenses like daycare, it's about $170 per month that mother will get from the non-custodial parent, the absent parent. That's not a lot, but earning minimum wage, that's what our guidelines say. Child should get a lot more, but unfortunately, that's what our office will enforce. If they don't want to pay it voluntarily and they're working, we send out an income withholding order. It's a legal document that tells your employer, you take out this amount of money from that person's paycheck and you pay it to the child support office, who will in turn deposit it into the mother's account. If the employer doesn't want, we bring that employer to court and force that employer to pay. Just to let you know some statistics, In fiscal year 2024, Child Support Office collected about $8 million in child support and has distributed about $8 million. Over the last 5 years, it's about $46 million that we've collected and we've distributed. My office, the Child Support Enforcement Division, handles about 6,000 cases on average during the last 5 years, and we service about 10,000 children on the island of Guam. So, individuals that come before the court, if they are compliant and they pay their child support or they're working, we take it out of their paycheck. Usually the court doesn't want to see them anymore because they're in compliance. There's no need to monitor them. However, if they're not in compliance, they don't want to pay, we can force them to come to court. Usually individuals that don't provide child support, we have monthly hearings. Every week the judge wants to know, what have you done to support your child? Have you looked for a job? What are you doing during your day? Are you just staying at home? You need to figure out how to support your child. You have that legal obligation. If you don't, what the judge can do is they can force you to go look for a job. They'll let you do job searches. You must go out 5 places per week, have that prospective employer fill out your job search form, sign it. Our office will verify whether or not you actually did. Just to tell you a funny story, one case, some guy tried to fool our office, so he would submit his job search form 1 week, job A, B, C, D, E. The next week, job E, D, C, B, A. He just reversed it, thinking he can fool us. So of course we go to court and we ask the court, this person is really not doing a job search. He's just submitting the job search form. The court can actually sanction that individual. Okay, and sanctions include possible jail time. Our office does have a lot of power with regard to individuals who are not compliant with child support. We can suspend your driver's license. You guys are just 18 years old or a little bit over 18 years old. You're just starting to drive. If you have a child support case and you owe child support and child support back pay, which we call arrears, we can suspend your driver's license. If you have a business license and you're actually doing a business and you fail to provide your child support, we can suspend your business license and close and shut your business down. That will force you to make your child support payments. Individuals who want to travel, if they have child support arrears $2,500 or greater, we can prevent you from getting your passport. If your passport is up for renewal, you owe child support arrears, we won't lift it. My office controls that issue. Actually, I control that issue, whether or not you can lift your passport or not. If I say no, you don't get your passport, you can use your birth certificate to travel to Hawaii, but if you want to go to the Philippines for the weekend, ain't gonna happen. Other things that our office can do without you really knowing about it is take your taxes, your tax refund. If you are getting a refund, you actually had a job this past year and you're supposed to get a refund of $5,000, you owe $5,000 arrears, our office will take it. Local taxes, if you have arrears $150 or more, we will take your taxes. If federal taxes, if we get a federal tax refund and you owe child support arrears $500 or greater, we can take your taxes. So those are some of the things that the Child Support Office can do and can sanction. However, the main office, the Office of Child Support Services, Office of Child Support Services is the main office. It's in the United States. It actually manages all the child support offices throughout the United States and all the territories of Guam. They are trying to develop a policy, or actually they do develop policies that all the offices have to follow. One of the things that they're changing, or have changed in the last 2 years is going away from enforcing. We want to service. the family. And so that's what we are doing now. So we try to be more sympathetic to the non-custodial parents.
Sorry.
We try to be more sympathetic to the non-custodial parents, and we try to understand their situation. One of the things, like for instance, that we have done in the last year is we've developed an informal program with the Department of Labor. Instead of sending individuals out looking for 5 places per week, we send them to the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor is a program that has caseworkers that can assist you in resume writing, interviewing, learning how to be interviewed, and then actually help you look for a job. So all the court does is refer you to the Department of Labor, and that caseworker is supposed to take care of you from that point on. Individuals sometimes have a little bit of history in their back that may be troublesome for them to get a job on their own. They may have been arrested for certain things, convicted of a drug offense which they try to fix. They do help with that. They do have a lot of employers that will work with individuals with criminal history. Our office has changed. We do have an access and visitation program. That access and visitation program is handled by Mr. Wilfred Aflagui. He's sitting in the back of the courtroom. Individuals that come before the court and have a child support case. Fathers want to visit their kids, but mother says, no, you didn't pay your child support, you're not getting to visit with your kids. That is not going to happen anymore. We do have an access and visitation program that can refer you to mediation between the mother and the father, work out some arrangement. We also have Erica's house. The parties sometimes don't get along. They can't be in the same room at the same time. So Erica's house is used to facilitate the exchanges between the parties. So the child goes with the mom to Erica's house. The child gets dropped off. Still can't hear? Yeah. Still gets dropped off. The father comes through the back door, picks up the child, and then leaves with the child. So there's no contact between the parties. So those are some of the programs, the Department of Labor and Access and Visitation, that Child Support Office is trying to change, and we're trying to provide more services for individuals, be a little bit more sympathetic to the parties, try to help the parties work through their situation. In your packet, you guys got a packet, it does have an application for child support, it does have an application for access and visitation. There's also a hypothetical that's presented in the file. The hypothetical, I'm just going to read you the facts of the case. Mother and father are both 18 years old and just graduated from high school in May 2022 when they have a child after graduation. The child was born November 1st, 2022. However, they break up before the child is born. After the baby is born, the mother has to start working. Because she's working, she has to enroll the child in daycare. She makes minimum wage. She realizes that her monthly income for minimum wage is $1,603, is not enough to pay for food, clothing, and shelter for the child, and also pay for the daycare. So she applies for child support. We file the complaint, go after the father, and he doesn't want to pay child support because he'd rather go to college. That's his intent. In your hypothetical, you'll see a worksheet. That worksheet will determine how much money that father has to pay. Because this child is in daycare, that is taken into consideration. So his monthly obligation is $428.76. What we do is we impute, even though he's not working, we impute minimum wage to him because we think he could get a job at a minimum earning $9.25 an hour. He can earn more if he actually applied for a job, but because he didn't, we'll impute that amount. The next document you see is a statement of retroactive support. It's a list of all the child support payments that he's missed. So he has decided that he's not going to pay child support. You will see that after 1 year, he owes $5,744 in child support arrears. What does that mean to him? That means after 1 year of having that child, he now has the possibility of losing his driver's license. If he has any other type of license, we can take that. If he wants to travel and now go off island for college, we can prevent that because he cannot travel unless he uses his birth certificate to go to Hawaii. So those are some of the things that you guys need to be aware of. Child support is an office that actually helps support the children. And irrespective of what the mother and father want, that's our goal, is we make sure we take care of the children and look after the best interests of the children. Okay, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's give it a round of applause for Attorney Ray. Again, if anyone has any questions, we're going to have a Q&A section in the end. You could ask questions to anyone on the panel. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Attorney General Moylan to talk about substance abuse.
Right. So you guys, let's put a recap on what Ray just talked to you about. There's two things that would help you guys get through this whole program or the problem with child support. Number one, how many of you would love your kids? Obviously, you guys are like kids yourselves, right? You're just got out of being a minor, a teenager. You know that your parents loved you and probably still love you, right? You guys are now in a situation that you're going to start procreating. You're going to have kids. You don't need to go to the Attorney General's office and apply for child support, okay? All the women out here are normally the ones that go to the AG's office and ask for child support. If you love your kids, you don't want to nickel and dime them. Do you know what nickel and dime means? That means give them the minimum amount of child support. Like for the guys, if you have to give money, don't think about it as giving it to the woman that you once loved or maybe still love but can't live with. Think of it, yeah, laughing, right? Think of it as the idea that you don't want your kid not having clean diapers, not being able to have to sit in a line with other people for welfare assistance. You want your kid to be the strongest child that they can be, right? For the guys, at some point in your life, the girl in your life is no longer going to be there, and your kid is going to be basically who you are. If you don't give them that education and the resources when they're young, they're not going to be successful. Like you guys, you're already on your way to success. The fact that you're making sure that you got that high school degree is very important. So that's one thing. Love your kids. Don't get caught up in the fight with the other person, because that's part of being human. But you guys are going to be subjected to it. 20s and 30s, that's where people fight most. 40s and 50s, we start giving up. So so that's one thing. Always remember that, okay? Love your kids. That's the key thing. And this communication thing that Ray was talking about, those guidelines that you see in there, they're very technical. You're not going to get any more money fighting with your significant other who you're not living with, okay? They're guidelines. You punch the numbers in, and this is the number that you're going to have to pay. Remember, guidelines don't kick in. Child support doesn't kick in until you're both separated, okay? And there's also, they can get back wages or back child support. What is it, a year, 2 years?
If the child is under the age of 5, you file all the way to the date of birth.
So you got a 5-year window, guys. So it's better to just, like Ray said, even if you're paying the girl or the girl's paying the guy directly, always get some proof, like by check, issue it by check, so that if you do go into court, and again, you don't have to go to court. You can basically just talk about it and figure out what would be fair between the both of you in terms of raising the child. Okay, so let's talk about something that, let's talk about something that is going to ruin your ability to be successful here. I take it that you guys know what meth is, right? Methamphetamine. Does anybody know? Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to do a question and answer first with the. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, gotta make sure everyone's paying attention during our child support discussion. So we're gonna throw some questions in the air. Can anyone? Well, first of all, can anyone spot Eric the Eagle in the crowd? There's an eagle in the crowd there somewhere. All right, that's Eric the Eagle. He is our official mascot.
Yeah, right behind
yes. And he can't fly, but
don't
he has
push him out a window. Okay?
All right, so we're gonna throw some questions to make sure everyone's paying attention. And Eric the Eagle has a special gift if you are able to answer correctly. So first question I'll ask, can anyone tell me the difference? You're going to raise your hand. You're going to tell me the difference between a custodial parent versus a non-custodial parent. Anyone want to take a shot at it? All right, I'm going to go ahead and give you the microphone. Just go ahead and say your name and then give your answer to the question.
Hello.
It's just for the
For YouTube.
For YouTube.
YouTube.
Oh no. But I'll say it though.
No, yes.
I'll say what's the difference.
Yes.
Okay, so a custodian parent is a parent that's involved. They're there for the child, paying for everything from the top to the bottom, to the bottom to the top. Okay, and then the non-custodian parent is the parent that doesn't care and doesn't provide for the child's needs. Yeah.
Some were correct.
Yeah. It's
but
the other way.
No, that's
No,
correct.
you're-
The
you're-
real definition is the one where who the child lives with.
Okay.
That means custody.
Oh, the custodian parent, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's the one that has the child most of the time.
Right.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
you are correct.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Winner.
Great job. All right. I just have one more question. All right. So, anyone raise your hand? Do you have to be married and living together to pay child support? Yes or no? Go ahead and raise your hand. Anyone want to take a shot at it? You want to take a shot at it? I can see you raising your hand there.
Wait. You might want to check that question. Let's do a quick comp.
That was kind of
You, you might want to rephrase that.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask the question?
Why don't you ask right?
Where's the question?
That was a trick question, guys, and I had to jump in there, but you know, they'll clean it up to one.
Where is it? Do you have to be married?
And living together.
I'd separate them.
Yeah.
You have to be
If you are married and not living together,
No, two.
that's
May I ask?
that's this is.
Just ask them, do they have to be living together in order to pay child support?
Do they have to be living together in order to pay child support?
All right. Anyone want to take a shot at that question? Do they have to be living together to pay child support?
No.
No. Is that correct?
Can you use the mic? Can you use the mic?
Oh.
Yeah, so Ray, why don't you stand up and just ask the question?
So the question is, do you have to be living together in order to be obligated to pay child support?
No, right? You don't have to be.
No, the question is, going back to the custodial parent, if you live with the child, right?
No, together.
Yeah, if you live together with, like you don't have to pay because you are still a custodial
Yeah.
parent. You're both custodial parents. If you do not live together, yes, you have
Yeah,
to pay.
yes, you still have to pay. If you don't live together, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Great job. All right. Thank you.
Marital status is just messed up.
It's messy stuff. That's why if you guys have any questions, the child support division is here to answer your questions.
And quite frankly, your kids are better off with both of you together. You know, that's what studies show. But you don't want to live in throwing stuff at each other sort of thing, right? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about, I think what's affecting. Yes, sure. You know, this happens very often, guys. Ray.
Okay. So whenever if he wants to be on the birth certificate, he can actually apply for child support services as a non-custodial parent. He can fill in an application. He will file the complaint against her. Unfortunately, you'll be obligating yourself to pay child support. So if you want to be on the birth certificate, one of the things that the court has to find in order to obligate you to make a child support payment is they have to find paternity. Paternity is acknowledgement that you are the father of the child. If you acknowledge that you're the father of the child, perfect. If you don't want to, or she contests it, you can do a genetic testing. Once that is confirmed, either through confirmation from you or through genetic testing that you are the father of the child, the court will order that your name be put on the birth certificate. Then
Right.
will tell you you have to pay $180 a month.
Right. So what normally happens is that A person applies for child support, normally the woman who has the child, and then the guy gets a service of a notice that you got to go to court for that. You have a right to contest that that is your child or not. And you know, some people, it's actually not their child. I think most of the time it's you know, the genetic test shows that is the non-custodial, the guy's child.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Does the father lose his right as a father if he's not on the birth certificate?
No. No. You still have every right. You still have every
right to full.
You are still the
And
father of the child.
this goes into this idea. No, no, go.
Yeah.
The judge will order it to be put on your name.
Just like that, he's not on the birth certificate, but you still have the same right to serve.
You got to be well. Legally, they have to determine that you're legally the child's father. That usually is a birth certificate. So at some point, you're going to have to be on a birth certificate if you want the legal rights of a father, a parent. But yeah, I was going to mention something else here. So okay, we'll leave it like that.
You want to keep it that way? Hi. No.
If you're not, well, you see, guys, this is when push comes to shove and you're using the AG's office to get child support. But if you call her up and both of you are looking at your child for the best interest of your child and you can work it out, then you can work it out, you know? And remember, this is not, we're not even touching joint custody. Those guidelines that we're talking about, putting the numbers in, fathers have as much right to be involved in their child's life as mothers do. The law says it. The mother and the father have the right to equal time. But if you're a meth addict, which we're going to talk about next, when you are not a fit parent, the judge is going to look at it and say, hey, wait a minute. We don't want your child being exposed to this, that sort of thing. And by the way, we'll get into stuff where both parents are meth addicts. And that's the problem we're having in our community.
I just want to advise you of one thing. If you are going to, usually when a child is born, the mother and father are there at the hospital, and then someone from public health lets you sign an acknowledgement of paternity. If you, at that point, are really not the father of the child, do not sign that document. Because once you sign a document saying you are
Presumption.
the father, it's presumed that you are the father of that child, and your name will go on the birth certificate. If you don't contest that within, I think, 6 months and change that, you will have to pay child support for 18 years.
Yeah, that's the cutoff,
Yeah,
18 years.
Or until he graduates from high school, whichever is later.
Okay, good. Okay? Scary stuff, huh? So basically, be responsible and be respectful for one another. That will get you through life. Just respect the other person. Doesn't matter if guys respect girls, girls respect guys, and everybody love their kids. Okay, so let's get into the meth. The methamphetamine, does anybody know how old when methamphetamine was first developed?
The Chinese made it to keep up the soldiers in the war.
It's a good point, but it wasn't the Chinese. Chinese probably used some other opiate, and usually battle is what they use for. Anybody knows the caliber, 45 caliber firearm was developed because of the Filipinos, because the Muslims were doping themselves up. But we're talking about substance abuse, right? We're talking about that idea. The answer is actually the Germans used it as a methamphetamine. They call it Prevatin, and it's essentially meth. But the Germans, and they were using it for the Battle of the Bulge, World War II, remember that? They were making the super soldiers so that when they went into battle, they got shot, but they kept on fighting. And then they died later. But I mean, they found out, the Germans did, that it was creating immense changes of the mind. Very quick and very effective in making you your power, your strength as a individual, but it was changing the mind. Now, in our day that we have, in our life in the United States right now and throughout the world, quite frankly, the meth dealers, the drug dealers, have focused on that drug that was developed decades ago during the 1930s, if not before that, to make money. And Guam right now we are destroying ourselves as a people, as an island people, Guamanians. I don't care what nationality you are. The price of meth is so low and the addictiveness is so high that it's destroying everybody. And from what Ray was talking about, we're just talking about normal people going through the regular, having a child and going through their relationship issues and that sort of thing. What meth is doing is it's destroying us at every level of society, okay? You guys know what alcohol is, right? You drank alcohol, well, you're not 22, but 21, but whatever. If you've drank alcohol, you understand the effect. It deadens your sensibilities. It makes you feel good. It has its ups and its downs. People can deal with alcohol, and they've dealt with it since the Bible. But meth changes your brain so that you become like a lab rat, that you need the meth and will do whatever it takes to get that meth. And even the smartest people in our society are not able to overcome. You know, you just look at Hollywood. Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, they all died young at the prime of their life because of drug abuse. Cocaine, heroin, we've talked about this in the past. They've been more recoverable. Meth, in my opinion, has a very low likelihood of letting you go. We have Mike Salas here. He's going to give you exactly what he experienced and what he continues to experience, because once that thirst gets you, it's not really going to let you go. Just like alcohol. If you guys know anyone that's older people, they've always talked about how they've gotten over alcohol, then they get into some depression, they get into a fight with their girlfriend, their wife, their kids, whatever. They go into a depression, and then they feel that, hey, I want to feel better, so they take alcohol again, and then they go back into alcoholism, okay? So it's the same idea that human nature is prone to addiction. Doesn't matter what it is. We're all prone to addiction. So the AG's office is responsible for enforcing Guam law. Does anybody know what possession of meth, what type of charge it is? Do you guys know what a misdemeanor? Misdemeanor means you can spend less than a year in jail. A felony, when you get charged with it, is potentially over a year in jail, okay? Does anybody know what meth possession will get you? Is it a misdemeanor or a felony? Right. It's considered a third-degree felony, okay? Which means that just by the fact they find meth on you, they can put you in jail for, I believe, up to 5 years. So, but we have this thing that's going on, helping people versus trying to protect the rest of us. Guys, always think about what your actions do to other people. That's that respect I talked about. When you respect people, when you respect the people in your family, when you respect yourself ultimately, you're not going to take meth, or really, quite frankly, any substance that you can't control. Alcohol is legal, but you gotta be responsible when you take it, right? That sort of thing. Meth is not legal because everybody knows when you take meth, it's going to destroy everything. In the family court, which I don't know if you guys have had cases where your family's been in family court or something, they don't publish the information that's in family court. I was a defense attorney for probably at least 10 years, and in 20 years, quite frankly. The things that we see in family court will make you cry. When kids, like you guys just got out of that, when both the parents, and especially now in the last 5 years, CPS, Child Protective Services, literally comes in and takes the kids away from you. You're not going to be dealing with child support. You're going to be, both of you, dealing with child support, paying the government because they now have your kid, okay? And they've taken them away because the kid goes to school, and then the teachers have to report your children because they're not being fed, they can't study because their parents aren't even home. They're literally walking. Just last week, I got a phone call from the police at 2 o'clock in the morning saying they found a 3-year-old child 2 houses down at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the cops were saying, what do you do to the parents? Well, first they called CPS, then we found out that it was drug-related. A 3-year-old child literally opened the door to the house and started walking down the street. So, and that's at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the cops are there, and everybody's trying to figure out what happened. That's what meth is doing to our community. It's taking away your sensibilities, and all you want to do is grab something in order to pay your dealer some money to get meth. Mike will talk to you about what's going on out there. What I found when he talked to Tizen, just over there at the other school, $10 for a puff of meth. $10, people are literally paying just for that puff of meth, that type of money. But the difference between alcohol and meth, in a weekend, you're going to have a really bad hangover if you go alcohol binging, right? Eventually, you're going to feel it. With meth, you now become addicted. 2 days on meth, you can be addicted. And that's what people are telling us. I've never taken it. I don't understand it completely. But I'm seeing all the injury that's happening. Those homeless people that we're seeing in the encampments around the different villages, when we went into the one in Dededo, meth addicts. The family doesn't want them anymore. And it's not Chukis, it's not non-citizens in the United States or in Guam. It's our own Chamorro families. It's all, the indigenous people of Guam are going into homeless encampments because their family kicks them out. Their mother and father, who they may be living with, say, get out of here. Because they're taking everything they have. They can't trust them anymore. When they leave the house, they're taking their jewelry. I know people. 3 of my family members have died because of meth in the last 30 years. So, you know, this is what we're dealing with as a community. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much you earn. But I will tell you, the more educated people are less likely to get into meth and have a higher probability of getting out of meth. And I'm talking about high school graduates. People that have that urge to make themselves better are better equipped to fight meth if it gets into their lives. So that's the type of discussions that we're having. And for purpose of, since you guys are such a small group, raise your hands if you have any particular question, okay? The Attorney General's main job is to enforce our laws and to protect the crime victim. All of you become victims when you take meth. Yes, when you take meth, even you become a victim of the meth. But me as the Attorney General, I need to protect all of us that are following the rules from becoming a victim of a person that takes meth. They have now crossed over into the dark side that they need to be put under containment. It's not to hurt them, but it's to protect us. Literally, guys, there's been 8 murders this year. I think there's 8 murders. There may be 9, but there's 8 that I'm aware of. We were at UOG talking to this capstone forum, and I kind of leaned over to Colonel Carbolito, one of the high-ups on GPD, and I asked him, were all 8 meth related? Because when it comes to the AG's office and we're prosecuting the murderers, my recollection is this 2024, all the murders that came to the AG's office, they were all meth drug related. And it was meth addict on innocent victim. You remember the Valentine's Day murder? That poor woman that was shot when the guy just wanted to take the money in her car? Valentine's Day night, she died because of a meth addict. All he wanted to do was get some money so he can get more meth. The Korean tourist, his family paid for him to come to Guam to enjoy his retirement. Did you know what he did, what he was retiring from in Korea? He was a nuclear physicist running their nuclear program. So they were forever scarred because of what happened. And guess what happened there? Do you remember? There were 2 guys in the car, Tumon. One of them came out of the car with his gun. He was so meth addicted that when the guy pushed back and was protecting his wife, the Korean tourist, he discharged the gun, shot him in his stomach. He died, I think, within 6 to 8 hours after. They didn't find the guys immediately because they ran off in the car. Did you know what happened when GPD found the guy that actually shot him? Shot the Korean tourist. Do you remember what happened when GPD came upon him in his car because somebody called? I think it was his girlfriend that was alleged to have called and says, I think the guy I'm with is the one that shot the Korean tourist. Do you know what happened? He shot himself. That's not the sign of a bad person. That's the sign of a man that felt guilty. He wasn't a killer. He was in the criminal justice system. He had he had meth problems. He was being caught for possession. But when the police confronted him, he knew that he was up and he was caught. He took the gun and he put it to his head and shot himself. He wasn't a coward that basically says, you caught me, take me in. He was a meth addict like you and I, a regular person in the community, a Chamorro, a Guamanian, that killed himself because he did not want to face what he had done. That's how bad meth is right now. It's wiping, and it doesn't matter if you're Chamorro or non-Chamorro. Everybody has, we're an island. There aren't serial murderers on Guam. You know, we grow up together, we go to school together, we go to church together, we live together, our families know each other, we marry within our own families and stuff. But meth is changing everybody on Guam to become people that we aren't really who we are. So that's the type of stuff we're talking about at the AG's office right now. You know, how can we as a community stop the meth addiction? And it's through education, guys. Education. Just don't do it because you can't even control that thirst. But I'm not the proper person really to say that. So I'm going to introduce Mike Salas, who's here. Thank you, Mike, for being here.
It took me to get out meth. I started since I was 12. Now, before I get started on that, man, like I said, on the streets they call me, I go by the name of Gunner. That was my active name. I started since I was 12, bro. And it was all because of meth. I didn't care about weed, I didn't care about alcohol. But when I did meth, I shot it up. I wasn't really a smoker till later after. And then just everything just progressed, bro. You know what I mean? I went from going to school, not going to school, started running around on the streets just trying to get dope. So maybe like when I was 14, 13, I started going to DYA. I went to PACE, got kicked out of PACE, ended up going to school in DYA. I just became a very violent individual, man. You know what I mean? And that's the road that I went down from. That's the road you guys are headed to. You know what I mean? That's the only reason why I'm here, is try to help you guys and guide you guys so you don't waste your time like I did. You know what I mean? I thought being down was being down, right, with all the homies. But let me tell you one thing. When it all went down, my homies didn't have me like I had them. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. When the homies called, I was there. When I called, they were, you know what I mean? They just punk out. So why you wanna, you know, throw your life away for other people that don't really care about you? Because nobody got you like you got yourself, boy. And that's real talk. You know what I mean? The reason why I talk to you guys like this, because this is where I came from. I can relate. You know what I'm saying? I can relate to each and every one of you. You know what I mean? I tried having kids when I was in middle school. I had my first child when I was in middle school. You know what I mean? I can relate to you guys, and I know how hard it is. You know, when you go home, you're trying to please your parents, but then they just look at you in some type of way, like this guy's just playing around with you. You know what I mean? They don't believe in the change. But who cares about what anybody believes in? Believe in yourself. You know what I mean? Look, I'm gonna be 40 in February, guys. I got my high school diploma just last year. Yeah, about last year, DOC, dog. You know what I mean? Look how long. But you know what I mean? Hey, the change is possible. You know what I mean? I got a good relationship with all my kids. Maybe not all of them. The older ones are already well off. They don't want anything to do with me. You know what I mean? Because of my past history. And then when I was 16, I was also charged as an adult. You know what I mean? And then went to Uganda, back to DYE. Who been to DYE here? F unit? You guys stayed in F unit? Well, those 4 isolations that they built there in the back was for me and 3 other the homies. And then, you know, finally they sent me back to Uganda lockup because I couldn't keep still. I got released when I was 18. But like I said, guys, 28 years, bro. 28 years on meth. It took a long time for me to get this. I'm only going to be clean going on 3 years of February. I've just been out of jail about 1 year and 4 months. But I finally came to my senses, bro. Last year, when I decided to quit. And it took me to go, when I got arrested, it took me just this time. There's a reason why it took me this time. I've been arrested at this time so much. I never thought about quitting. I never want to quit. I mean, I was always medicated, doped up. That was all my thing. But that's what I mean about your boys when they don't got you. So I was promoting meth into DOC. I was bringing in dope. And at that moment, the officer that I was dealing with got popped, and he turned around and told on my wife. My wife got arrested for a lady that never smoked dope in her life, bro. Let me hear me out. None of my boys out here got my back like they said they did. All the dealers, you know what I mean? All my boys, nobody, not one of them even tried to put a bail or take care of my kids. When that was me, homie, when the boys go down, I'll do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Even if I have to go hit one, I'm gonna do my part. So that way you can't talk shit. But straight up niggas, the boys don't got you like you got yourself. And that's the truth. You ever go to jail? They're not gonna do your incoming. Maybe once if you get lucky. Twice if they're family. But after 5 years, after 3 years, ain't nobody gonna be there for you. But that's the truth. So nobody was for me. And then when I get out, they're like, oh, homeboy, I'm sorry, though, I couldn't. What's up with all that smack? You know what I mean? Like, why you guys gotta be like that? Because when the tables were turned, I was there for you. But it don't matter about all your boys, bro. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta do yourself. You know what I mean? I can't really talk to other people like the way I talk to you guys because they really can't relate. You know what I mean? The long nights, lonely. I know how all of that feels. But at the end of the day, just be you, do you. Because nobody's gonna be there for you, bro. That's the truth. Education is your way out. And that's the truth. Meth don't mess your brain up, bro. Straight up. You know what I mean? I missed so many baptismals, everything. I got raided on the day of my daughter's baptismal. That's sick, yo. You know what I mean? That shit's ugly. Before I used to think it was all shit, yo. Hey, gonna saw it, bro. That's how it is. You know what I mean? But that's really it's just all the facade, bro. It's just bring nothing but trouble and pain to my family. Well, out here I was, you know what I mean? Thinking it was cool, riding around with the boys. They do nothing. Now I got a real good relationship with my kids, my young ones. I have an autistic son. You know that dude, that homeboy loves me. You know, he goes over here to tease him. All those things I miss because I was just focusing on meth. Bro, it's sad, it sucks, but I can't bring it back. You know what I mean? I can't turn back time. But even if I did, I wouldn't. I'll probably do the same thing all over again. Because that's me, that's where I came from. That's my life. You know what I mean? Even people up to this day still think, oh, this guy promotes gangs. No, I don't promote, I used to. But I still help my brothers. I still help my young bucks when they come around. But I don't support them with meth. I don't give them money. I'll make them eat. You know what I mean? Because I formed 2 sets that still right up today. You know what I mean? I formed 2 sets in the north that still run today. I refuse to turn my back on them, like how my older ones turned their back on me. But just because I refuse that doesn't mean I promote gang activity or drugs or whatever it's like that. I look after my boys, my younger boys. You know what I mean? I won't give up on them. But I won't support them if they're gonna go do something. You gotta ride along and do that on your own, boy. But if you wanna do other things, you wanna do better things, come and check me. I'm still here for you. And that's the truth. I got my youngest brother doing 8 years. He's almost done though, you know what I mean? My youngest brother, bro, that homeboy did his whole teens. When he's 18, he'll be out with 20, 28. That's all me, though. You know what I mean? So, what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to help the younger brothers come up. Dude, you don't need to go to the mainland. The mainland and Guam is the same thing. A lot of people like to listen to a lot of people from the mainland and how they recovered and all of that. It's the same thing here. You got brothers in here. We got pleas in here that know how to do time, that walk the line. A lot of those homies back then when they come here, they won't be like us, and that's the truth. Especially in the prison. Our prison's small, but look how many deaths they have in the prison too. The island's small. Look how many unsolved mysteries they have on this island, and it's a small island. Imagine them do the meth now. These guys are just killing each other. They argue about one thing, the other nigga just shoots the homie for what? For $30? That's sad, though. You know what I mean? That's really sad. For dope, bro, this thing didn't do nothing good for me. Not one good thing. 28 years I've been married to that shit. You know what I mean? What has it done for me? Not a damn thing. Took away 28 years of my life. And I'm blessed to be, honestly, I'm really blessed to actually overcome this addiction right now. And that's the truth. Because it's hard. Every day I still fight my addiction, though. Every day I wake up, nigga, I want to puff. You know, that's what I always tell myself, because that's the life I lived for so long. It's hard for me to change that. But me doing this for you guys, it helps me push through. So when you guys do call, or I do see you guys on the street, they holler at a nigga, though. You know what I mean? Because I'm clean, I'm sober. You know what I mean? But if I was in my acting days, it won't happen like that. You won't see me out there, you know what I'm saying? I won't be somebody you guys can talk to. But the only reason I'm like this, because I can relate to you gangsters. You know what I mean? This is the reason why you guys are here. I know, I've been here before, I've been in those seats. People try to talk to me like that. You guys don't know what he's talking about. Now look, I'm the homie up here in the front, sitting down and watching you guys in the back. You know what I mean? That's just how. Hey, this life's a circle, but you don't need to run around in the merry-go-round with a dope fiend. And so hey, if you guys honestly, when I came out, my first job, real job, I worked for Togi. Okay, you guys can get my number down. So we help everybody, who's struggling with substance abuse, whatever it is. 683-9277. We help. Hey, and if you guys feel like you guys are ever in a situation and you guys feel uncomfortable, give me a call. I'll holler at me. I'll be there. Real talk. You guys need to get out of our house. You guys feel like you're trapped, especially for the ladies, because I know how it is on the streets. On the streets, I came up super high on the streets. I know how it feels for the ladies to be trapped in the house or forced to smoke dope. You ever run into that? Give me a call. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I'll be there. Because I still got the brothers that will ride. That's the truth. But you guys see me out there, holler at me, though. I'll help you guys. For real. I know how you guys feel, man. Hey, God bless you guys. I wish the best of you guys. Don't waste your time, yo. Straight up.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mike Salas. All right, so just making sure everyone's paying attention to the presentation. I'm just gonna ask one question, and this is a question that we've been asking in the other high schools, and it might not be too relevant with you guys, but it's still a very good question to ask because you guys might have siblings, you guys might have children. So the question I'm gonna ask, raise your hand if you know the answer. Can a minor selling drugs like meth be charged as an adult? Yes or no? Go ahead and raise your hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. Go ahead and say your name and then give your answer. Can a minor selling drugs like meth be charged as an adult?
My name is Milo Kaneni, and yes, they can be charged as an adult.
Yes, that's correct. Just give him a round of applause. That's very correct. Right. So that about concludes our presentations. I'm gonna now go ahead and open the floor to any questions you might want to ask to the Attorney General or the attorneys we have at the front.
Oh, and one more note there. That imaging behind Ray over here, guys, this isn't about throwing people in jail or punishing them. These are actual photos of what meth. Ready to be buried 6 feet under. When your body is rejecting the poison, and the medical examiner, Dr. Nine, I don't know if you guys were watching some of the news on it. He was our medical examiner until Dr. Sue came in. He told me that how he sees meth killing people, it's the heart. You know, all your organs are affected by the meth, but what happens, and as you get older, you start realizing, even if your parents may have had a heart bypass surgery or something, you have 100% when you're born, right? 100% pumping. Any guys that know the cars, it's your water pump. It pushes the fluids through the system. As you get older, it starts losing its ability to pump. When you damage that heart muscle, which meth does, it can no longer pump the 100%. So you try to run, and then you're beginning to pant because you don't have enough air coming in your system. When you should die maybe at 70 or 80 years old, a normal life, meth takes away your life. So you will die at maybe 50 or 60 if you really were hardcore on meth, because your heart has already been damaged by it. So this is just a life lesson, guys. You want to live life, right? You enjoy life. You know, we're all made that way. Just a comment on it. So ask your questions, guys.
Anything from child support to
Any questions, whatever? You know, you guys are all adults. Anything that you have in terms of the law that you have a question on, we're here to help you.
Castle law.
Which one?
Castle law.
The Castle Doctrine, right. I always sum it up on saying that each of you has a right to self-defense. You have a right to protect yourself. So if somebody comes at you, and it's usually the facts, right, of what happened, you have a right to defend yourself. Normally the right is if a person comes at you, has no weapon, you can't pull out a gun and just shoot him in the head, that sort of thing. That's an escalation of force. The Castle Doctrine gives you special rights though. Like at night, like a woman, she's in her house, is woken by somebody that's going through the window, and then instead of have to wait to see if they have a weapon, she just points the gun at the person and shoots the person. That's what the Castle Doctrine does, and it's not just the house, it's the car, it's certain areas. It basically builds on your right to self-defense. It's people in our legislature that are fed up with criminals. They don't want to hear it. They don't want this, hey, they got off because they had a good lawyer or a technicality. It's the idea that we all have rights. We have a right to be safe. So that's a summary of it. It gives you special rights to protect yourself. Now, being able to, like, you guys know what happened in New York, that David Penny, what was his name? That guy on the subway that put him in a chokehold? You see what they did to him? Marine, he saved, everybody in the train said that this guy was nuts and he would have hurt us. New York's district attorney, like the attorney general, actually charged him with a crime and took it before a jury. They put him through a year of hell. That a good Samaritan, you guys know the billboards that are up right now? You got a billboard there? Yeah, can I see the billboard? Yeah, Padenkenko, the UFC fighter, right? So these guys, take a look at that billboard that we have up. This is basically what our friend here is commenting on. These people came to the defense of others, that sort of thing, okay? It's the idea of self-defense. You have a right to self-defense yourself, but you also are protected in the law if you're coming to their aid. It doesn't have to be your relative. These people came to the aid of, like you guys, didn't even know them. So I feel as the Attorney General, we have to recognize them. That Penny guy, Mr. Penny in New York, he came to the aid and helped those people, but the Attorney General wanted to charge him with a crime. That's the danger with the Castle Doctrine, is that at some point you're going to have to prove certain facts. But the Castle Doctrine helps. Because like I said, if that guy's coming in through the window into your home, that's the greatest idea of protection. You have a right to protect yourself in your castle, whether you use deadly force against a person. But what happens if the person coming through the window was a little kid that was just, looking for his friend to meet up with his friend or something, and you shot him? That's where it gets really nasty. You know what I mean? So the reasonableness, a jury normally has to decide reasonableness. Other questions that you guys have? You guys are you're all like me. You have the ability to succeed in life. You have the ability to get that higher education, and you have the ability just basically to be good parents. You want to send your kids to high school, college. You want to send them to GCC, right? You don't want to know that, hey, my right is I just have to pay till they're 18. For the guys that may become non-custodial parents and are paying child support, you want to make them as smart as they can be so they can pass the entrance exam at University of Guam and then to start their university college life. You don't want to nickel and dime the kids. They need all the resources you can give them, not just the minimum amount. You really don't really want to go to the AG's office to force the other guy to pay child support, the other person. And yes, there are women that pay child support that don't want to raise the kids and have a good job, and but for the most part, like we talked about, it's usually you guys out there that are the subject of child support cases. Okay? But I don't care if you guys, even if you didn't agree with the child support amount, pick up your kid on the weekend. Have some children are better adjusted when they have both the father figure and the mother figure. Normally the feminine and the masculine. The father that comes in and says, get off your ass and start cutting the yard. Stuff like that. Kids need to hear that. Hard work. It's all a formula in life, guys. And your parents probably did exactly what I'm talking about. Questions? Mike, he really is giving of himself. He's a good Samaritan to the extent that he's trying to save everybody from experiencing what he experienced, and I have a lot of respect for that man. As much as I hammer the meth addicts, because we have to set the tone in our society. You don't want your kids on meth, do you? Nobody wants their kids on meth. So this is the stuff you need to hear at this point in your life, so that you guys can actually enjoy your life. It's not going to be perfect, but at least don't let these drugs take it away from you. Okay, so thank you all, and thanks to the administration for having us over here. If you have any questions, ask those questions. Come to the AG's office. We've got emails and stuff like that where we can help you guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's already been posted, you know.
It's live right now. All right, let's give her a round of applause. Yes. And we have some giveaways, some stickers, some booths that you guys could check out on your way out. So please do so. Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and get lunch. Boys, can you guys carry the chairs down?
What year did you graduate? You look familiar, so my friend doesn't talk to you. Nanny, do you have any your eyes? 60. He's probably so he's 10 years ahead. He probably wasn't in within the first